Hello, this is just a little extra video. It's not a proper knitting podcast. There's not going to be one this week. I will explain why. I wanted to put something up because I know a lot of you worry if you don't see me. So you may have seen last week's where I said the video started unexpectedly and I was trying to catch my breath before I started recording. Well, you might or might not have noticed that I did not manage to catch my breath through the whole time that I was recording. Fortunately, having sung in many choirs, I have been taught breath control, and so you might not have noticed that I was going in between every sentence. Essentially what happened was, before I sat down to record, I'd been on Zoom with my friends, nothing dramatic happening, and my heart rate shot up to about 140 for no reason, and it stayed there. It stayed there for 9 hours. I'd been for a blood test that morning. I thought maybe my thyroid had gone a bit nuts, and I was absolutely correct. It's not the first time, but it is the worst time. I had a phone call from my GP surgery about 8 o'clock in the evening, which is unusual. They'd seen the results, and one of the doctors from the critical care hub was going to ring me in the morning. So I'd already emailed my endocrinology consultant. That's the guy that deals with thyroids. And the next morning about 8:30, I got a phone call from my GP. Luckily from my actual GP, because all the practices in Chard, which is where I live, have amalgamated, and so there's now only one practice serving the whole town. So you never know who you're going to speak to. There are various doctors, and then there are loads of locums. So it was actually my GP, who's known me for 20 years, and she went, "We've been here before, haven't we?" And I said, "Yes, we have." So she prescribed me some medication, a tablet called carbimazole to quieten my thyroid down. That does take quite a long time. It could take anything up to 6 weeks. And it's a beta blocker for my heart called propranolol, which is to stop my thyroid telling my heart to beat so fast. It sort of interrupts the signal. And there was no one to pick the prescription up for me. Everyone was at work, so I said, well, I'll have it from Pharmacy to You, which is an online pharmacy in this country, which is great. They're absolutely marvellous. I've been using them for a couple of years, but obviously they take a couple of days to get to you. So this was Wednesday morning, and I didn't actually get my medication till Saturday morning. But I'll tell you all that I'm trying to do it in chronological order. So I'd emailed my consultant. I've skipped Tuesday evening. So Tuesday evening, Dave had come in from work, and I was still sat here. I'd recorded the podcast. I'd done the little bit of editing I do. I'd wrapped a couple of orders, and I was just finishing doing that when Dave came home. And he said, "Oh, are you staying there? Are you coming downstairs?" And I said, "Oh, I'll come downstairs." And then I couldn't get out the chair. I did not have the strength to get out of the chair. And he came back up and he went, "I thought you were coming down." I went, "I can't get out the chair." So he tried to help me out, and he couldn't manage it on his own, partly because of where the chair is. I don't know if you can get a sense of it, but this next to me, right next to me, is a wide windowsill. So he couldn't get to the side of me. He tried getting to the side of me that side, but it still wasn't enough. So he and Ewan had to physically lift me out the chair. I couldn't help them at all. I had no strength in my legs. Went downstairs, and he said, "Well, maybe your heart will settle down. Just sit quietly, have your dinner." So I did all that, and then I was so tired. I was more exhausted than I've ever been. I think because my body had been running a marathon at like 1,000,000 miles an hour for 9 hours by then. So there's 3 flights of stairs to get from the living room to my bed. So I managed to get up the stairs and I just about made it, and I sort of collapsed on the bed and I couldn't breathe. I was so out of breath from having to clean, well, let's be honest, from having to haul my not insubstantial backside up 3 flights of stairs. But I wanted a shower because with my heart racing, I felt so hot and sweaty. So he said, right, look, come on, let's get you in the shower and get you into bed. So I got into the shower, covered myself in soap and then promptly passed out. It was the 3rd time, actually, that I'd passed out. And I now know it's because my heart rate was so fast. But yeah, so that was a bit scary. He wanted to call an ambulance. I wasn't having an ambulance. This went on for about an hour. I was like, I just need to lie down. Just let me lie down. So we spread towels out on the bed and I laid on the bed, and yeah, everything slowed down. It was okay. And then the next morning I got the phone call from the GP, and 10 minutes after I'd spoken to her, I got an email from my consultant, which is how we communicate in between appointments, saying, yeah, your T4, which is one of the thyroid hormones, was 53.7. It shouldn't be any higher than 14. My T3, which is another hormone that they check, was 16, and I think that should be around 3 or 4. And my TSH, which is the thyroid stimulating hormone, was undetectable. And the thyroid stimulating hormone is a bit like a gas pedal in a car. So it tells your body how much thyroid to secrete, how much your metabolism needs speeding up or slowing down. And it was telling my thyroid not to put any chemicals out into my bloodstream at all. And my thyroid was completely ignoring it and just pumping them all out. So yeah, so I'm back on the highest dose of carbimazole, which is the thyroid stopper that I've ever been on, and a fairly high dose of the propanolol, which is the heart calmer downer. She's bored with this story, she's heard it before. And I am feeling a little better. I had to spend a week in bed because every time I even got out of bed to go and spend a penny, my heart rate got so high that I nearly passed out again. But now I've got the propanolol. That is better. I am still, I mean, I've just got washed and dressed, and I had the quickest shower ever, and I sat in front of a fan for half an hour, and I'm still so hot. I can't, my fingers are sticking together because they're sweaty. I'm sorry, it's gross. I'm not great with the heat at the best of times. It's relatively warm, it's quite humid, but because my body feels like it's at the gym constantly, you know, I'm generating my own heat inside. So yeah, so I haven't done much knitting at all. I've been trapped in bed asking Dave and Ewan to bring me knitting bags, and with them coming back with, you know, here you are, and me going, no, I had those yesterday, I need a different two. But they have both been absolutely great. They've been making sure I've got food and water and everything I needed, even though I haven't been terribly hungry, because if you've ever been to the gym and overdone it, or you've been on a run, I'm assuming you're all healthy exercise type people out there, but you might remember it from when you were a child, when you've just really overdone it and you've made yourself so hot and out of breath that you feel like you're going to be sick or faint. That's how I've been feeling all the time for the past week. But that is thankfully passing now because my heart has calmed down. I just have to wait for my thyroid to stop kicking out so much hormone that it's making my metabolism so fast that I'm so hot. But we're getting there. I'm still very weak. your thyroid kind of metabolizes your muscles when it gets to this level. So you end up with weak legs. I can barely hold my arms up above my head long enough to wash my hair. That will pass. I know from experience that will pass. But at the moment, I'm still in that position where I'm very weak and wobbly. I've come downstairs to my craft room today. This is only the second day since last Tuesday that I've been in here. And I normally spend most of my time in here. So that's where I am. I am feeling a little better, but there won't be a proper podcast this week because I just really haven't got much to show you. And I'm not going to wait till Wednesday to put this up because I know I call you my ladies. I know some of my ladies are worried. Some of you have been messaging me. So I'm going to put this straight up so that you can see I am alive and well. Well, as well as can be expected. I am still alive. I'm just not very nitty. And Poppy has abandoned me and is now sitting halfway up the garden path. She's not very happy because I haven't been in here sat next to her. She's been in her basket all day apparently, but obviously I couldn't get down here and she's really cross. And I keep saying to her, why did you not come up to me? You could have come up to me in my bed. You could have sat next to me. But apparently this isn't my room that she sits in. This is her room that I'm allowed into now and again. So, oh gosh, she's stalking across the grass now. That'll be some poor bee about to meet his demise. Anyway, as you can see, I'm all right. That was the other thing I wanted to say in case any of you had seen and were panicking. I have closed the shop for a couple of days. Really just because I didn't want orders to come in and then me start panicking because I can't dye them up. So I'm hoping that certainly by next weekend I'll be all back to normal and can, cope with stuff like that. I am getting better a little bit more every day now that I've got the tablets. But bearing in mind stress is the thing that sets this off with me, I didn't want to give myself any more. There have been various offers of help. I can FaceTime people and they'll do it for me, but it's just not the same, is it? So, yeah. I thought the best plan was to just shut the shop for a couple of days and then there's no stress. So I will be back next week, fingers crossed and touching wood, as back to normal as I ever am. So until then, please don't worry, I am okay. I'm getting better. It's a long process, I know from experience, but within a short space of time I should be feeling better enough to just get back on with doing normal stuff, even if I get tired more easily, even if I get hot and sweaty doing it. So I'm sorry, I forgot again. My mum used to tell me ladies don't sweat, horses sweat. So even if I am glowing like a racehorse, I should be able to get back to doing things next week. So I should see you next week as normal. Please don't worry, I am okay. And until I see you again, enjoy your knitting. Bye.